YouTube is Rico, man. I'm back with another video, man. Y'all see what we got going on, man. We got the 11 most dangerous prisons in the world, so you already know what time it is, man. Brand new to the channel, or you've been watching videos on the channel, but not yet subscribe, hit that subscribe button now. Also, don't forget to tell your family and friends about the channel, and hopefully they become supporters of the channel. As y'all can see, I recently just hit 5K subs, so shout out to y'all, and I appreciate y'all for those that's been rocking with me on this journey for the longest and stuff, man. Without y'all, I wouldn't be where I am today on YouTube. So shout out to y'all, man, and just continue to show love and support. And like I said, don't forget to tell your family and friends about the channel, and hopefully they become supporters of the channel as well. And also don't forget to turn on post notifications so you guys can get notified when I drop new videos. And to be sure you don't miss out on new videos, check out the channel every day, no matter the time of the day, because you never know when I'm gonna upload, and you just don't want to miss out on those uploads. And also don't forget to add and follow me on social media, man. Go turn my social media up. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and start the screen record. That started and starting the vid now.
Hey guys, it's Chris. From legendary prisons to prisons right now that are some of the worst places to be in and more. Join me as I reveal 11 of the most dangerous prisons in the world. Number 11, pandemic prisons. You might think that prisons during the current pandemic situation are some of the safest places in the world because prisons and jails are closed systems, so thus there aren't many ways to go and spread around the virus that's crippling the world. But you'd be very wrong on that front, because right now every prison in the world is a dangerous prison because of the pandemic. Think about it for a second. In prison, there's no such thing as social distancing, and that's mainly because there are 2 people per cell, and
Yeah, and at that point, shit, you ain't even able to wear no mask or nothing around each other at all. So pretty much whatever somebody gets in there, it's possible for that to spread very easily and stuff amongst everybody else that's locked up with you as well. So other than that, that's definitely why too I seen a lot of jails around the states out here and stuff, and pretty much release people that's on lesser serious crime charges and stuff and serving time and stuff like that. So they just pretty much get those people up out of there and pretty much only keep the real serious offenders in jail and stuff like that to still continue serving their sentences and stuff. So that being said though, man, yeah, man, up in the jail or prison, etc., etc., you definitely pretty much ain't able to do social distancing and stuff like that to make sure you don't get sick by what somebody else got type shit. So other than that though, man, yeah, that is pretty much basically a hazard right there.
those cells are very small. What's more, soap and protective equipment to keep them safe while close is virtually non-existent because prisons won't pay for that and won't treat the prisoners fairly. They have been so bad during the pandemic that they've literally been called petri dishes, and the spread of the virus through the prisons is honestly rather shocking. Now, some in the government have tried to put a spin on this, but the numbers don't lie. Many thousands of prisoners have gotten sick within the prisons, and hundreds have died. Some prisoners have even rioted and exposed contraband in order to help tell people their stories and get the word out about their prisons, basically killing them. Plus, a prison isn't a closed system. There are guards and staff that come through.
And this problem been going around for years and years, man. Like the prison, like yeah, these people pretty much committed crimes and stuff against society and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they still human beings. Honestly, I'm gonna just say this right now: for the people that's not really in no type of assault things, pedophile and all that type of stuff, as long as they not charged with that, I feel like the people that's did lesser crimes are still pretty much people that should be given some type of fair treatment amongst the prison guards, whatever you want to say, etc., and stuff like that. Make sure those guys are pretty much able to be treated fairly how they supposed to be treated, not living in inhumane circumstances and stuff like that that can affect their health and all that stuff. You pretty much get what I'm going with this point. It's pretty much like, yeah, man, at the end of the day, these people are still humans and stuff, and they still should be treated as humans, not treated as trash, garbage, however you want to word that situation right there. You can word it however you want to word it, but I'll just say it like that pretty much. They shouldn't be treated like that prison, yeah, you going there to serve sentences for crimes and stuff. But like I said, if you somebody that's, because I honestly don't care for people that's been charged with pedophile crimes and assault crimes and stuff like that. Y'all pretty much get where that's going. So I ain't gonna say too much on that because of YouTube. But the other people that's, like I said, charged with lesser crimes and stuff and serving sentences, they shouldn't be treated as inhumane and stuff like that. At the end of the day, they still human. Should just be treated fairly. That's all I'm gonna say on that, pretty much. But we're gonna go ahead and continue on, man, because that's been a whole situation for years about prisons treating the prisoners as just pretty much trash. So it's hard for them to survive up in there and stuff, and you pretty much not even getting treatment sometimes, just even with common codes and all that stuff. So it's a lot of situations in different prisons too where food ain't good at all, plumbing ain't good at all. It's just a whole lot of, like I said, inhumane stuff going on in some of these prisons, and it's pretty much been a problem. So other than that, though, man, I feel like it's just definitely a lot of problems that need to be solved with the way that prisons are being ran and stuff. So it is what it is, though. We're gonna go ahead and continue on.
All the time. Plus, new prisoners are brought in and other prisoners are cycled out. So thus, the virus continues to spread throughout the prison system, making anyone in there right now vulnerable to getting sick.
You in position yet?
Working on it.
What's taking so...
Number 10, Alcatraz. At one time, Alcatraz was the #1 prison you did not want to get locked up in. For a very good reason, too. If you were sent to the Rock, you weren't going to be getting off of it. The prison was legendary for housing some of the biggest names in criminal history, including Al Capone at one time. But the real reason it was dangerous was its location. It was an island prison off of San Francisco, and as a result, if you were to escape your cell, you'd somehow have to go and swim your way all the way to shore. And the waters of the bay had tides that could easily drown you or sweep you out to sea if you weren't careful. As a result, many inmates died trying to flee Alcatraz. And officially, no one ever survived an escape attempt or made a full-on successful escape. The only reason that Alcatraz is shut down now is that the prison slowly started to degrade, making it unsafe and unhealthy to remain there. But for a time, it was the prison that everyone feared going to, and its legacy lives on to this day. Number 9, San Quentin Prison. San Quentin Prison was established in 1852 and is the oldest prison in the state of California. That means it predates Alcatraz and has lasted a lot longer than it. And so keep that in mind when you think about dangerous and significant prisons. There are various reasons that this prison was and is dangerous. First and foremost, for a long time, it would carry out executions of prisoners in a variety of ways, including having its own gas chamber. This isn't something that is used nowadays, thankfully, but it was used at one time. Like many other prisons, they use lethal injections to execute prisoners, but they haven't done that since 2006. So why is it still dangerous today? That would be because of the conditions and the violence. Due to its age, the prison isn't exactly a perfect model of efficiency and safety. So much violence is regularly known to happen here. In one case in 2006, a racially motivated incident happened that resulted in over 100 inmates getting hurt and 2 people dying in the fights. In 2005, reports stated that it's dangerous to house people there. The danger can further be proven via the museum that is a part of the prison that shows that various items and weapons from over the years that the inmates have made to try and kill each other. This includes spears, guns made of plumbing parts, and more. Do you know anyone who has served time in prison? Have you yourself maybe ever been incarcerated? Was it dangerous? Did you witness it?
Shit, pretty much at the end of the day, shit, violence is to be expected at these prisons just because you got all these people with different personalities locked up together and committing all these crazy serious crimes and stuff like that. So once they finally are removed from the freedom of the public and stuff like that, they pretty much are going to be locked up with other people that have kind of the same mindset as them, and they just want to see harm done to each other and stuff since they can't do it to nobody else anymore on the outside and stuff. So that being said, that's to be expected with all prisons, I feel like. But yeah, man, just the conditions of the prisons, like I said, man, that's been a problem for years and stuff like that. And a lot of people have been speaking out about it. And honestly, I just feel like it's not really much going to be done, just because look at how much time has went by and complaints have been happening for a lot of these prisons for years, and still nothing has changed and stuff. So with that being said though, man, we're gonna go ahead and continue on.
Any fights or riots? Or was it mostly orderly? Let me know how you feel about prisons in general in the comments below. And then be sure to subscribe for more impressive videos like this one. You don't want to miss them. Number 8. Bangkok Prison. If you were to ask for the nickname of Bangkok Prison, you would be told it's the Bangkok Hilton. This would obviously lead you to believe that the place was a relatively nice prison with fair accommodations and fair treatment of its inmates, but you would be very wrong in that regard. The prison is known for the routine torture of its inmates. Inmates are crammed into small cells, and death row inmates are often given as little as 2 hours' notice before they're dragged off to their execution, but that's not all. All prisoners are required to wear long irons for the first 3 months of their sentences. Death row inmates were required to have their leg irons permanently welded on, although this practice ended in 2013, thankfully. When you add all of that up, you get a prison that no one in their right minds would want to go to. Because if you do, you might not get back.
And that's what I was talking about. You pretty much getting treated as if you're not human at all and stuff. But like I said, man, some of the people that's been getting locked up for their crazy serious crimes, either way, I feel like they deserve what comes to them just because they didn't care about what they did to others and stuff that involves murder and pedophile charges, the assault charges and stuff. Y'all pretty much get where I'm going. Like I said, I can't say some of these things on YouTube like that, so I ain't gonna say too much. But the people that's charged with lesser crimes that don't really involve any actual assaults and stuff like that, yeah, man, they still going through it, man. Just at the end of the day, just because of the simple fact the prisons is just bad. So that's how it is right now for everybody that's up in there. Everybody pretty much getting the same treatment, which is kind of pretty much over the top sometimes. So other than that, you just gotta pretty much be careful of what you do, and that way you don't end up in them type of situations and stuff. Because if you can't handle being free out here in the outside world and stuff like that, then hey, that's where you're gonna go. You're gonna go somewhere where you're gonna pretty much get treated like nothing at the end of the day. So that's just pretty much one thing to look at before you decide to do something that you're gonna regret later on in your life. But other than that, let's go ahead and continue on.
Back out. In fact, one UK prisoner served 17 years there before being pardoned by the king. When he did, he described his experience as hell. Most prisons wouldn't get that moniker, but Bangkok Prison clearly does. Number 7. Rikers Island. Easily one of the most famous prisons in the world that is still in use today, Rikers Island Prison is located off New York and between the Bronx and Queens. The legacy that this prison has gotten led to it being referenced or used as a plot point in various TV shows and movies based in New York. That being said, its legacy is not for the faint of heart. Why? Because its history and legacy are marked with excessive violence. But not just violence between inmates, but the violence that the guards would inflict on inmates as well. This obviously would cause retaliation to happen, and the cycle continues. In May of 2013, Rikers Island ranked as one of the 10 worst correctional facilities in the United States, based on reporting in Mother Jones magazine. The violence that would happen there was legendary in the worst way possible, not the least of which was because it would be done with approval at times from the local police and the New York State government. Of course, this type of mistreatment is obviously a human rights violation, and eventually there were strict rules put in place to try and limit the violence against both inmates and staff. And there was some success in getting stabbing incidents to go from about 1,000 a year down to 70. However, the violence in the facility is still going strong. Thus, prisoners honestly try and do a lot to not go to Rikers, because they know they won't have a chance of survival in there in most cases. Number 6. ADX Florence Supermax Facility. There are certain facilities in the world that are designed to hold the worst criminals that humanity has to offer, and one of them is the ADX Florence Supermax Facility in Colorado. While that may sound like a good idea given that sometimes there are prisoners who need to be under constant surveillance, there are limits to what one should do there. For example, ADX Florence Supermax facility apparently keeps many of its inmates in solitary confinement, which is usually reserved for those who have done something wrong in the prison or those who are requesting safety from other inmates. But that's not all. A lawsuit was filed in June of 2012 by several inmates. The lawsuit charges that the conditions of the prison create an environment for inmate abuse and torture. What's more, the inmates stated that their mental health was not properly addressed, and as a result, many inmates committed suicide. Now, this is obviously terrible news. Prisons are already bad enough without the fear of getting beaten, tortured, and left to die. The court case did get into settlement proceedings, but that doesn't change all that happened there. Of course, the inmates in this prison are some of the worst people in the world, so it's unsurprising that they receive little sympathy and terrible treatment.
And that's why I was saying, man, people that's charged with the real serious crimes, they're pretty much gonna kind of get what's coming to them just because of the serious crimes that they committed and stuff. But like I said, the people that committed the lesser serious crimes, though, they pretty much gotta suffer that same treatment and stuff. But either way, though, man, at the end of the day, you going to prison, you pretty much give up your freedom. At the end of the day, that's how I look at it. You pretty much couldn't do what you were supposed to do in the freedom side of life. So, hey, now you gotta go live a way that others want you to live and stuff. You gotta do what they want you to do at all times. And if you don't do it, you're gonna get consequences happening as well inside the prison. So that's why I said it's a lot of inhumane stuff going on pretty much and stuff. So at the end of the day, you better think about what you do before you do it, because if you don't want to go to prison and have to pretty much go through these things that these people are going through, then you should live life the right way and the legal way, man, and just stay out of trouble and do what you're supposed to do and stuff. But yeah, man, so with that being said, though, man, yeah, once you go to these prisons, your freedom over with. And a lot of people, unfortunately, just ain't gonna give a care in the world sometimes just because of you being a prisoner. No matter what you did, all they know is you went to prison and you did something that warranted you to go there. So it is what it is. That's how they're gonna look at it. And I honestly feel like, too, that's why a lot of the changes ain't really happening at all to the way people are being treated inside prison. So that's why I feel like there ain't really much change coming or anytime soon, et cetera, et cetera. So other than that, though, man, we're going to go ahead and continue on.
The whole situation is just a little distressing. Number 5, Lasante Prison. Located in France, Lasante Prison is another prison that's infamous for its treatment of prisoners. It has held some of the most famous criminals in French history, including infamous pseudo-celebrities who receive visitors and live in a special section of the compound. Today, however, for all of its inmates, it remains a dark and depressing place. But this time, there's a twist, because not only is the place so dangerous and so violent that prisoners often take their lives rather than risk living out their sentence, but prisoners are only let out 4 hours during the day. Plus, there is apparently a hierarchy in the prison, unlike what you'd see in various TV shows and movies. To that extent, those who have power are able to lord it over others, while those who don't have power aren't able to do much at all, and live in the worst conditions possible. It's a true dystopian situation with power.
Hey, you gotta think about it. Not only are you going to prison and having to live by somebody else's rules and stuff, mainly the police and all of that, but you possibly gonna go up in there and living under the rules as well as the prisoners' rules and stuff like that. You gotta probably answer to somebody that's up in there that got more power than you or whatever the case is. But either way, you know it's gonna always be that one person that don't care about any of that and stuff, and they ain't gonna go for the disrespect. So you gotta earn your respect and stuff like that. So that's why you got people fighting each other as well and possibly killing one another just because of the simple fact they want to have that respect in the prison, not to be messed with at all. So pretty much at the end of the day, they'll at least eliminate living under the rules of a prisoner as well, and only be living under the rules of the police instead, like how it's pretty much supposed to be at the end of the day, because you go to prison and at the end of the day, the police is the ones that really is supposed to tell you what to do and stuff. So if you don't want to live under the rules of not only just the police but another prisoner, then you pretty much got to earn your respect amongst the prisoners as well and stuff. So that way they know not to mess with you and stuff. So at the end of the day, only the police is the one that is going to have the power ultimately over that prisoner. So with that being said, though, man, y'all already know how that goes, though. So we're gonna go ahead and continue moving.
Powerful and vicious leaders who can do as they please to the weaker inmates. As for attempts to escape, many have been made, but only 3 have ever been successful. The best way to escape this miserable prison is to not get sentenced there in the first place.
Exactly.
Number 4, Drakdor Prison.
Sounds good.
When you have a prison that's been dubbed inhumane by pundits, you know you're doing something wrong. This is the case with the famous and disturbing prison in Turkey, where inmates have their spirits broken and people experience violence every day. One of the dark spots of the prison's past for which it has been known is incarcerating children for lifelong sentences. This is horrifying no matter who you are. That a child would serve a life sentence for something that was likely very small is terrible. And a life sentence at a place like this might end up being very short, what with the disgusting and inhumane conditions of the prison. Furthermore, those who run the prison are corrupt. They're known to beat down prisoners for virtually any reason. This is so extreme that in one case, both police and guards beat down inmates, killing 10 and injuring 23. Over the years, dozens of inmates have died from being tortured, committing suicide, or...
And that's pretty much what I'm talking about right there. Like, you pretty much just going up in there and you just getting beat up and stuff by the police for no reason. Like, you ain't even, yeah, you went to, obviously you did something to get in prison, but at the end of the day, though, you still if you gotta have to actually do something in prison for them to want to harm you or whatever the case is, or do all these extra inhumane things to you and stuff like that. So even if you obviously you got in prison but you ain't doing nothing, you just chilling and stuff, but you get beat down, then yeah, that's crazy. Like, you ain't even do nothing, you just chilling, and out of nowhere a prison guard just, hey, come here real quick or whatever, just come to you and just do that to you. So it's just crazy, man, how they get treated though at the end of the day. And other than that, like I said before, man, don't get it twisted. I ain't showing no sympathy for nobody that go to prison. If you go to prison, it's obviously because you did something you had no business doing. So like I said earlier, if you don't want to go to prison, then live life the right way, the legal way and stuff, and keep your nose clean, pretty much. Just go ahead and do your business the right way and stuff, and just pretty much live that way. So that way you don't have to worry about going through these type of situations and stuff being in prison. But other than that, let's continue on.
Going on hunger strikes. The European Court of Human Rights has condemned this place, and it will likely remain a disturbing reminder of how cruel humans can be to one another for decades. Definitely, this is not a place you want to end up. Number 3, Sabaneta Prison. Sabaneta Prison was one that perfectly showed the problems with various prisons in the world. Mainly, they were holding way too many prisoners to be run effectively. In this case, Sabaneta Prison was supposed to hold only 15,000 prisoners, and yet it held 25,000. The guard-to-prisoner rate...
And they went over 10,000 extra. At that point, y'all supposed to expanded that prison or something, because ain't no way y'all supposed to have that many people under that max capacity where it's supposed to be 15,000, but yet you went all the way to 25,000. That means a lot of people up in there is probably sharing cells and all type of stuff, and yeah, it's just pretty much crazy. So with that being said, though, man, we're gonna go ahead and continue on and see what's more going on with that prison.
Ratio was 1 guard for every 150 prisoners. That was not a way to keep things safe.
Yeah, you definitely putting your guards in jeopardy if you somebody that is running the prison as the head honcho, pretty much. It's like you pretty much putting your own people in danger, trying to pretty much supervise the prisoners and stuff like that. At any moment they could get pretty much jumped and stuff and have something crazy happen to them and stuff, and now you gotta live with that on your mind and stuff. Like, I'm kind of pretty much responsible for what happened to the prison guard at the end of the day and stuff. all because we don't want to expand and hire more prison guards to where you can have that amount of people in prison and stuff and be able to supervise them correctly and accurately and stuff like that without any trouble and stuff. So that being said, they kind of set some of these problems up on they cells and stuff. They should have expanded the prison and hired more prison guards if they gonna want to have that many people over that max capacity. So yeah, man, they kind of did it to themselves without them.
Located in Venezuela, this prison had drug traffickers, gangsters, and murderers in its walls. These people were more than willing to commit horrific acts of violence, and with so few guards, there was very little guarantee that any order could be maintained there. And obviously, chaos ruled in this place. The prison was littered with violence from top to bottom, and it could get pretty intense. A violent gun battle in 1994 resulted in the death of 108 prisoners. Additionally, 196 prisoners were killed and 624 wounded because of jail violence in 1995. The prison is now closed and remains a museum showing the horrors that occurred there. Number 2, Tadmor Prison. Located in Syria, Tadmor Prison was infamous for various reasons, not the least of which is its treatment of its prisoners. Amnesty International has stated that every aspect of it was designed to dehumanize its inhabitants, which obviously is not the point that prisoners are meant to serve. There have been various incidents there that have caused many complaints on the world stage, and ironically, it was shut down in 2001. But just as ironically, it was opened up again in 2011, and it didn't change much in terms of its brutality towards prisoners. It was finally blown up by extremist members of the terrorist group ISIS in 2015. Number 1. Carandiru Penitentiary. Located in Brazil, Carandiru Penitentiary was known to be the most violent and brutal prison that resided in the world for decades. To give you just a small taste of what happened here, there was a massacre within the prison in 1992. It was so bad that 102 prisoners were killed, and numerous military police were themselves sentenced to prison for their actions during the massacre. But that's not all. The health issues were just as bad there, as various prisoners were diagnosed with HIV due to their lack of treatment or improper treatment. A book and movie were made describing the horrific conditions of this place, from the perspective of a doctor who was trying to treat the inmates for their diseases over a number of years. This prison was destroyed in 2002, but a small prison block remains open to the public as a museum. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, man. So in other words, man, if you don't want to end up in these type of circumstances in prison and stuff, just don't go to prison at all and don't commit any serious crimes that's gonna warrant you to have to go to prison. So at the end of the day, that's what I'll say. But yeah, man, these definitely some crazy prisons right here for sure, man. These just pretty much the worst of the worst prisons that you could possibly ever get locked up in. So other than that though, man, also, yeah, too, some of them was closed down, rightfully so, just because of the inhumane treatment that was going on in some of those prisons and stuff like that. At the end of the day, the way a prison, I feel like, should be ran is pretty much, yeah, you did a crime, so now you got to come do the time, and that's pretty much what you got to do, man. So simply, you just going to have to come up in here, follow the rules. If not, then you got to go to solitary confinement and stuff and be alone for hours or days, months, etc., until you start acting right. And if you don't act right, that's just pretty much where you're going to remain at. So other than that, some of these prisons definitely go too far in what they do. Some of this stuff they definitely don't got to do at all, and it's just extra and stuff. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But with that being said, that's pretty much all I got to say, and that's the end of the video. So if you guys enjoyed the video or my reaction in general, just make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Don't forget to tell your family and friends about the channel, and hopefully they become supporters of the channel as well. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you guys get notified when I drop new videos, and be sure you don't miss out on new videos that I drop. Check out the channel every day, no matter the time of the day, just because you never know when I'm gonna upload. And also don't forget to add and follow me on social media, man. All my social media platforms are listed down below in the description box, as well as in the intro of the video if you watch the intro, and as well as in the thumbnail of the video. So you shouldn't have a hard time at all finding out my social media platforms. But with that being said though, man, that's the end of this vid, and I'm gonna catch you guys later on more, so stay tuned. Peace.